Hey, Jason Rogers here, and it's been a while, but we're going to do an update video today. I want to talk to you about how I got the virus, how that went. I want to talk to you about the $1.785 million acquisition. We are seriously jumping right now, hopefully looking to close around Labor Day in the state of Florida. And I want to talk to you about some big things that have happened with Brighter Living and the initial acquisition I made last August. So let's dive in. First things first. What is first, really? This last 90 days has been absolutely insane. You've seen the news. You know what's happened. We've had the virus. We've had chaos, protests. We've had unemployment just absolutely skyrocket. And it's been just true chaos in the fundamental definition of the word. And in any event, we've made some major moves ourselves, and I've made some major moves over the last 60 to 90 days. I've been very quiet about everything that's been going on because I like to approach business in a professional and confidential manner. And I'm going to keep this video confidential in regards to some of the nuance of indeed what has occurred, but I certainly want to share with you what has transpired, because it's certainly, if those of you who are thinking about buying businesses are really serious, this video and the insights and the action steps and the realizations that I've had, they will impact you in a positive way. But first things first, let's talk about the future. I want to talk about the future first. The business we're looking to potentially buy down in the state of Florida. Nothing is official yet. Nothing is official yet. And for all I know, nothing will happen. And by the way, that's always how I approach business acquisitions or potential business acquisitions, from a place of detachment. Meaning, look, you don't know. You don't know if maybe the seller's going to change his mind. I don't know if we're going to find something that makes us uncomfortable. Those things are always possible. But that being said, that disclaimer being put forth, I should share with you that we're really excited. And the seller appears to be very excited. It looks to be just a great opportunity. I'm not going to talk about the specifics of the acquisition target right now because, for one, we're under a non-disclosure agreement. But two, it just isn't to the place where it's closed yet. But this has been a company we've been analyzing and keeping our eye on since January of 2020. I think it was late January or early February when I was out in Florida. I met the owner, as well as my business partner. We saw the acquisition target. We talked for hours. And then I was back in Florida, I believe in early March, maybe late February. I met with the owner again. We talked more. And over the last 90 days, things have really materialized, and they're performing at a very high level. The owner is at a place in his life where he is looking to sell. I believe he's in his early 60s. And so he's thinking about his next chapter in his life. And me being 28, I'm extremely hungry to make this acquisition and to do great things with the company. I want to do incredible things. We want to do incredible things with this company. We feel it's just an awesome opportunity. That's really all I can say there right now. I'm going to be in Florida on the back end of this month to move things forward and to lock this deal down. We're really grateful to say, I'm grateful to say, we have lenders chasing me pretty much every day. This was actually the first day. Today I'm filming this on a Wednesday. Today is Wednesday the 3rd of June. Today was the first day in almost a week that I didn't get a call from a different banker asking me about this deal. I got a call yesterday, I got a call on Monday, and I got a call the prior Friday, and I got a call the prior Thursday, each day from a different banker. Today was the first day I didn't get that call, which actually in some regards was nice because I had other things to do. But the point is on the debt side of the capital stack, we're very confident we can get this deal done. And then on the equity side of things, we have multiple investors. One has already committed $100,000. I have another call with an investor tomorrow. He's a doctor. I'm not going to say any more than that, but he's been interested for months, and now we're ready to roll. Long story short, the financing piece is not going to be the problem. The only thing that could get this deal hiccuped, if you will, would be, one, if we find something that makes us uncomfortable, which I sincerely doubt, but you never know. And then two, if the seller massively changes his position. It's his wife that's somewhat involved as well, but ultimately it's an individual. He's a male, and he's the guy that's been running the shop for many, many, many years, many decades, in fact. And, if he decided to change gears, then, of course, he could do that. And I'll never try to bind a guy into something where he can't walk away. I want somebody to want to do a deal with me. I never want to force somebody to do a deal with me. But in any event, that is what's upcoming. We're very excited. I am ecstatic about this. The pandemic period slowed things down a little bit. The PPP financing through the SBA completely captivated the attention of lenders, and it really admittedly slowed down our progress for different deals. Also, we had a couple of deals that we passed on. We entered under contract with 2 different companies in Q1 of 2020, and we pulled out. I personally made the decision to cut the cord on both of those because the companies, candidly, just weren't up to par. And in times like these, you need great companies, in my opinion. I don't want to be buying C or D or even B grade assets. I want to buy A level assets, blue chip companies with local moats, with great financials, with a great culture, with a great organization, great management, just great companies. And that's what we feel this company really is that we're in the process of negotiating. And actually, we've already negotiated. At this point, it's really just a matter of closing the thing. And we're moving at a steady pace that makes everybody comfortable. But in any event, that's enough about that. Let's nextly talk about Nextly. I don't know if that's a word. It sounds like Nestle, like the candy bar. I digress. Let's talk next about the virus. I got the virus. It was weird. I had these sharp chest pains for about 8 to 9 days. In fact, our acquisition target, the first Brighter Living acquisition target we made, my first deal that I led and closed, the $1.275 million deal in Nebraska, that 38-unit rental real estate property is located in the highest concentration of COVID county in the United States of America, literally. As of mid-April to late April, it was literally the #1 highest concentration of COVID county in the United States of America. There were 250 people tested in that county. Of those, 395 tested positive. 395 were tested, 250 tested positive. So of the 395 that were tested, 250 and change tested positive. It was 65% of those who were tested positive. And indeed, I came down with it. And I have to say, it was actually kind of scary. I didn't feel terrible. I was able to work. I was working through the process, admittedly from home. I self-quarantined. I didn't want to get people infected. But I have to say, it was really difficult to fall asleep. And then I would wake up in the middle of the night and early in the morning at like 3:45, 4 a.m. before I was normally ready to get up. I would wake up with these sharp chest pains. It felt like there was a permanent 10-pound weight. For those of you who are in the gym, you know the 10-pound weights that you put on the barbell. It felt like one of those 10-pound weights was just permanently laying on my chest for about a week. My breathing capacity was only about 50 to 75%. It was very uncomfortable, but it got out of my system. I then tested. I finally tested negative after about 15 days of going through that process. What happened is from May 1st through May 6th, we collected rent, and I personally collected, let's just say, considerable amounts of cash. It was the last month for our rental property here in Nebraska where we had cash collections. We've now since moved over to money orders and checks, but it was the last month we had cash. And when you have, over 30 tenants, almost 40 tenants who are paying you, most of them in cash, and you're in a county that's absolutely filled with a virus, you're going to get it. And I did. But in any event, I'm fine. I feel great, and I'm more focused than ever. And that's the update there. And by the way, that property, from a revenue perspective, is incredibly high performing. We've had literally, May of 2020 was our best collection month ever. June, I'm shooting this on June 3rd. So far, we're on track to maybe beat that month, at least replicate it. We're at 100% economic occupancy, which is very, very high. Literally, you can't do better. You can increase your rents, but from a collection standpoint, you can't have better collections than that. However, not all has been entirely rosy with Brighter Living. I'll cut to the chase. I let go the majority of the Brighter Living board in the last 30 days. Candidly, because it just was the right thing to do. And there's so much I could say about this, but ultimately I will firstly say that they did a great job. I just built a team that was too big. And thankfully to God, I was given a good brain between my ears. I was very quickly able to figure out 80 to 90% of the things that they were brought on to help me with. And candidly, the costs associated with having a big board, as well as a big accounting firm and a big law firm, they were just eating our bottom line away. Here's a number for you. We spent over 10% of our first entire year's projected revenue on white-collar professional fees associated with the accounting firm that I signed an engagement letter with, the legal representation which I engaged with, and our board. Over 10% of our yearly revenue went to white-collar professional fees. And that actually happened within the first 8 months of our operation. So we went over 10% of our yearly revenue projection in the first 8 months. It was just too much. And I let the individuals on the team know, look, we're in the middle of a absolutely chaotic economic period. Our revenue has never been better. I mean, we are just churning cash. And yet, our white-collar professional fees are eating us alive. So here's what I'm going to do for each of you. I'm going to give you a dividend. I'm going to basically give you a thank you gift, and we're going to enter into a separation agreement. That's what we did. For all the individuals on the team that I asked to engage in that way, all of them but one did so. I'm not going to speak about that any more than so as to say, I feel very good about the decision. It was the right business decision. And as I told them, look, if we keep paying unnecessarily high white-collar professional fees, we may eat ourselves alive. And of course, that's the last thing any of us want. And in times like these, crazy economic times like these, you can't afford to be flippant with your cash, in my opinion. So I made the hard but necessary decision. And now, Brighter Living is a much leaner team, which I'm realizing I much prefer. Much prefer. I don't want to have to make a dozen calls before confirming a decision. I want to be able to make the decision right then and there. And of course, I was the majority and am the majority shareholder of Brighter Living, so I was always able to make the executive decision. And that's exactly what I did with the Brighter Living board. I made a difficult, albeit necessary, executive decision. But ultimately, the lean, mean fighting machine is what I believe I'm best suited for as an entrepreneur. And I would implore many of you to think about whether or not it truly is advantageous for you to build this huge, massive, whopping team before you have any revenue behind you. Admittedly, had I acquired a service-based company first instead of a real estate property, there would have been higher amounts of revenue. There would have been a little bit more free cash flow. It might have worked out a little differently, though realistically, I think either way, the team I built was just too big to start. And so we made the adjustment, and I'm glad we did. And now, for the foreseeable future, our investment that was made to help us buy the property is secured as a result of no longer having excessive white-collar fees. And now we look forward to ensuring that investment that an individual made, alongside myself to buy the property, I need to make sure I make that return every single month to that investor. At the end of the day, what I'm realizing is keeping your promises to bankers and investors is your ultimate duty as an acquisitions entrepreneur. When you keep your promises repeatedly over a sustained period of time, you'll have more money flowing at you than you know what to do with. And that's actually literally the position I'm in right now. Like I said at the beginning of this video, when we talked about the future, this acquisition target we're analyzing in the state of Florida that we're likely to complete in the next 60 to 90 days, probably will close around Labor Day. There's more lending interest than I can possibly take on. We have at least 4 solid lenders ready to go. And probably, realistically, there's a couple others that are there. And on the investment side of things, we're probably going to have to literally turn capital away. I believe I've been able to get to that point because I take other people's money seriously. I take other people's money seriously. If you give me money, I take it seriously. Whether you're a lender or an investor, I don't care. Whether it's mezzanine, whether it's first position debt, whether it's investor equity, not important. Where you stand on the capital stack, yes, there's different terms based on where you sit within the capital stack. But the significance from which that money holds in my heart does not change. And as a result of thinking in that way, I'm finding money's finding me quite easily. If anything, we've been saying, I'm not ready for your money yet. No, I don't want your money just yet. Hey, I'm sorry, we already have enough money. That's come as a result of being prudent and thorough in analyzing companies. Like I said earlier, we passed a lot of different companies we were thinking about buying. But now we're ready to get our foot on the gas and make another 7-figure acquisition. I'll keep you posted, but that's the update. I'll talk to you in the next video. If you've liked this one, thumbs up the video. If you want to follow my process here of buying companies in real time, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And hey, what do you want me to talk about next? What have you liked about the video? What are your thoughts? Share them in the comments below. And again, I'll talk to you in the next video.